Hello, Yu-Gi-Oh! Knows! And I'm coming back with one final video to spam you guys with Mystic Mine. You are playing Mystic Mine wrong. Trilogy. The last laugh. From the ultimate villain who plays Mystic Mine, the evil typical Mystic Mine player, or not. But point being is I'm going to actually discuss three things, three topics for Mystic Mine: why it's healthy, why I find it fun, and why it is troll. Because there are legitimate reasons for all of these things, and I don't think that everybody understands fully, so maybe this clears things up. Anyways, first we're going to talk about why it's healthy. It's healthy because, for lack of a better word, it's not healthy. The game is not healthy. Combo decks are broken. Therefore, there's no reason that other deck types shouldn't be broken. Because if it's not, then it's going to be nothing but combo decks. And that's just going to be how it is forever. And there are players out there, guys, that you realize that enjoy strategies that aren't combo decks. Like, there's a lot of potential types of ways to win in Yu-Gi-Oh, but it forces balance because it threatens those types of decks. And if the types of decks like Mystic Mine and other, more alternative styles of decks that were effective became prominent and people became players of them, then it would slowly creep out that combo, because it would be like, well, I know if I go to the tournament with my combo deck, half the people are going to be playing shit that's going to destroy it, but that is kind of the name of the game you play in a healthy meta. It's like there's should be a couple of different fairly varied strategies within the upper tier of the meta that can all, that basically some are effective against each other, some are less effective against each other, but they're all fairly effective. If, it's harder to put in more simple words. And really, that's just something that the game needs. And clearly, the Konami created this card for a reason. And yes, they do print tons and tons of cards that are those combo cards because they sell. They know that's what players are buying. So, of course, any company's going to do that. However, they print a card like Mystic Mine. It's not their fault that it took y'all almost 5 years to realize the card was frickin' amazing. I've known it the whole time. I read the card and instantly was like, this card is the answer to this combo BS. That is exactly what it is. And they printed it probably in the hopes that it would catch on, and then other strategies would be something people would be interested in. They'd start introducing more strategies. It would have its impact on the metagame and, reduce the impact of combo strategies, which would then allow other strategies to become more viable and the game to slow down enough to where, you could have turns that wouldn't take 20 minutes and more back and forth, where you're not blowing your whole deck's resources in one turn to set up one big board. That game state needs to die, and Mystic Mine is its frickin' death knell. Or at least it should be. And they still ain't banned it yet. And honestly, I can't believe the card hasn't been banned, because it seems they don't ban cards really based on how bad they are. In some cases they do. But based on how much people gripe about them, and people love griping about Mystic Mine. And Mystic Mine has been being griped about even more now, because somebody's doing, things in the competitive, real-life Yu-Gi-Oh! Not online world. It's making people realize, oh my god, Mystic Mine, and now everybody's copying him, I guess, because everybody is griping on the internet, right? Like, the level of griping about Mystic Mine, as I'd say, about triple. And the thing about Mystic Mine is, because of its mechanic, and because of the mechanic it affects is the mechanic that most people play, unless that changes, Mystic Mine is always going to be good. 10 years in the future, decks could summon 10 times as many monsters. But as long as Mystic Mine's mechanics remained what they were, and those monsters didn't develop some additional absurd mechanic that said, you're immune to Mystic Mine, or you cannot be targeted by player targeting effects, basically, I think would be what would stop it. Then it's always going to be effective. Like, this deck was effective 5 years ago. This deck is effective now, and you don't have to know the meta. You just have to know that the meta is filled with nothing but monster combo decks that have effects that do nothing but facilitate those monsters, and therefore they have no way to deal with anything other than with monster effects. So, a lot of people, I'm going to go into why it's fun. A lot of people wonder why, to somebody, a Mystic Mine deck could possibly be fun. And part of it is in the why it is troll category, but there is a part that is a legitimate part that I think people might be enlightened on. You know, I'm not going to say every Mystic Mine player thinks like this, but for me, this is part of the reason. Odds and luck manipulation. I've had a fascination for a while with building a deck that's like mostly draw engine that hits some kind of card that, you know, you really want to hit with that draw engine, and then it's like gets a win. And there was a while where, back many years ago, when I was experimenting with Nurse Burn and a draw engine that was all Destiny Hero, like Dark Destiny Hero, so it had trade, like level 8, so it had trade in, it had, you know, a bunch of cards that basically let me just cycle through these Destiny Heroes, and you just, like, set up the Wombo combo, you know, OTK with Nurse Burn. So Mystic Mine is the same way, although nowadays we have the pot cards and all that stuff that have come out in the past, like, you know, 5 so years that outclass that, you know, Destiny draw engine. So I've always been a person that has extremely bad luck. If I do not stack the odds of the deck as much as I can, the heart of the cards is not behind me. There is no heart of the cards in the world of Jelly Skeleton, so Jelly Skeleton has to run 3 of all the draw spells because Jelly Skeleton wants to make sure. Jelly Skeleton wants to bend luck over and say, screw you. You are answering to me because there's no way that you can't. That odd and luck manipulation to where you can get something running so efficiently that the odds are so high is just very mentally entertaining to me. You know, seeing that happen and seeing it go off consistently is just very mentally rewarding. You know, and I really just like taking a mechanic of a game and saying, okay, what's the most extreme degree I can make this to? So in the case of Mystic Mine, those two things are lockdown, draw power. Which, to be fair, in Magic the Gathering, I play blue-black, which is basically just negates, death, you know, spells, and draw power, you know, so it's the same basic thing, but instead of me actively countering each of your cards in Magic, I'm locking you down with Mystic Mine and then protecting Mystic Mine. One further thing on why it is fun. Because there's nothing wrong with decks that use generic cards. And I come from original Yu-Gi-Oh! And I played Yu-Gi-Oh! During the XYZ era, and I played Yu-Gi-Oh! During the modern era. And I think one of the greatest things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Compared to other trading card games is their older cards are still legal. We can use any card in the game as long as Konami has not deemed it too broken for the current game. So that means if you really want to get creative, you can dig your claws deep down into this massive pool of cards, and yeah, most of them will be irrelevant, but you can find ones that are generic, and when you can get a generic deck to work in this day and age, it's a very satisfying feeling, you know. And one thing that people always are saying about Mystic Mine, and that you have to hard draw the outs. This whole deck is generic. There's no archetype. It's pure generic. So that means I have to hard draw everything too. I'm just running a lot of generic draw power. That's all it is. So, then we're going to go to why it's troll. The reason that is troll is because it's hilarious, and it creates a couple of hilarious situations. It exposes the fact that people are so stuck in their ways that they refuse to see a deck that isn't monster-oriented, that's strong, as anything other than something they want to complain about. And that sucks. You know, like, I don't understand people's hatred of alternative strategies in card games. Strategies that involve not just depleting your opponent's hit points. I've always liked the concept of mill, or poison, or burn, and all this and that, and Mystic Mine makes all of that possible. But, as I went into in my previous 2 videos, you know that I believe that the best win condition is Final Countdown. It's the final countdown. I'll slap that sucker right down there and be like, oh. It's like slapping my balls right on the table. It's like, yeah, that's right. This is the troll section of the video, the section where the Mystic Mind player who revels in your anguish as you squirm and scream. You make it so mad at me, and I don't say a word to you. In fact, I'm very polite for the most part, and you just come at me and get so heated because I'm playing a mechanic that you don't like. That's different and something you do not want to have to account for, but you get mad because you have to. And it is a frustrating mechanic, but so is combo decks. They're an extremely frustrating mechanic. Like, I've never really been a combo player. I don't mind, you know, like, tempo style combo, but the level of tediousness that you guys are putting into these 40-step combos just so you can feel accomplished for each single step you have in your combo, it's like, good lord. I can do that in a couple cards with Mystic Mine. You create an unbreakable board, I create an unbreakable board. The only difference is that I don't care about superfluous crap, so I'm just like, I'm going to choose the most efficient route. Mystic Mine's the most efficient route because of the decks you're playing. And, you know, it just creates this hilarious situation when you're basically stabbing your own selves to death because of your refusal. You're like an old man on his porch rocking back and forth in the rocking chair like, God, I don't like them people over there. They're different from me, and I don't want to accept that. You know, it's like literally you're stuck in your ways. Get out of it. Get out of it. It's not healthy for the game. It's not healthy as a person. Enjoying a variety is the spice of life, guys. The spice of life. And Yu-Gi-Oh, unfortunately, despite it having the mechanical potential, as far as how the mechanics of the game work and all the various different ones, to be the best, and at one point was the best mechanically, strategically, by far of any of the trading card games I've ever played. And I actively seek out all kinds of trading card games to play because I love game mechanics and figuring them out and breaking them. But it's devolved into just nothing but swarm, nothing but swarm, nothing but swarm, nothing but swarm, nothing but swarm. And it's like this weird swarm control hybrid where it's like swarm, but I'm swarming you so I can negate you, not so that I can just wipe you out. It's weird. But that's basically what everything is. And the mechanics are all basically like, take monster from this pile, put it in this pile, take it from that pile, summon it to the field. Do that a whole bunch of times in a bunch of different order with slightly various different wording until you have like 3 or 4 really powerful monsters on the field that say your opponent can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I sit there for 20 minutes and I'm like, very, very annoyed the entire time. As annoyed as you are sitting there passing your turns back and forth for 20 minutes while I stall you out with Mystic Mine. Still 20 minutes of inconvenience. The only difference is that I'm using turn manipulation by changing the game state with Mystic Mine. And I will admit, you know, I would never be rude to anyone I ever dueled because I don't believe in being like that, unless, of course, you're a jerk to me first, and then I might, you know, let you know that I am, in fact, twirling my mustache behind my computer monitor. So, yeah, this has been my trilogy of probably what will annoy and infuriate not only people who dislike Mystic Mine, but probably a lot of Mystic Mine players themselves. But you know what? It's Yu-Gi-Oh, baby. This is Jelly Skeleton. Peace out.